In this video, I'm going to be covering the 5 marketing mistakes that most limo businesses are making that are costing them anywhere from hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars per year. Okay, number 1 is neglecting your online presence. So what do I mean by this? Well, you have your free presence and your paid presence. And I don't care how big your business is, you want to be covering your bases with the free presence. What do I mean by that? Well, that means your Google business profile. These are completely free to sign up with. They send you a postcard. It's very easy to register them. You also have Yelp, you have TripAdvisor, Wedding Wire. All of these platforms, while they're not going to get you a ton of clients, are valuable, not just for the reviews you might get on these platforms, but also just your overall online presence and SEO efforts, because Google looks at all these things to decide where they want to rank your business. If you aren't registered on a lot of these platforms, you just won't rank as high. Just doing these things isn't going to get you ranked, but it will help you cover some of those bases. Next, you have your paid placement. So these are things like Google ads, Bing ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, TikTok. Now I can tell you this, I'm a fan of paid search marketing because that targets someone when they're looking for exactly what you offer, where you offer it. Whereas platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, what you're doing is it's interruption marketing. You're interrupting them scrolling through their phone, and most people do this type of marketing wrong. I have other videos on my channel about this, but suffice to say, I recommend paid search marketing. What you also might want to try, things like Bark and Thumbtack. What I recommend is try lots of different services. Yelp even has a paid listing service where you can essentially pay just like you do with Google and Bing ads. So do not be shy in trying out some of these different services. The most important thing that you need to do if you're using these services is tracking. And that brings me to point number 2, not tracking what they're getting from where. This is most obvious to me when I diagnose someone's Google Ads campaign. They're not set up to track conversions. Well, what does that mean? So that means you're tracking literally what someone searched before they clicked on your ad and called you or filled out a form. You want to get this tracking set up, and you can easily hire someone on Upwork to do it for you. But if you don't have tracking set up, you do not know where your leads are coming from. If you don't know where your leads are coming from, how are you ever going to know what platforms you should be investing more money into? So the third thing that's costing your limo business lots of money every year, could be hundreds of thousands, could eventually, if you get big enough, be millions of dollars a year, is not focusing on your reviews. Your reviews can make or break your business. When we get new clients at Limo Marketer, the first thing we tell them to do is start asking every single job you get through our efforts, and really any efforts, asking every single person for a Google review. Now, there's lots of different review platforms. Me personally, I recommend Google's reviews because Yelp can be a bit biased in how they filter reviews out. So I recommend really boosting your Google reviews, asking every single customer you can for a review. Now, why is this important? Well, here's what you're gonna find. As time goes on, having a solid online reputation will get you leads at a lower cost and will help your lead to sale conversion rate. So that's just a fancy way of saying it's going to make sure more of the leads you get, more of the people that call you actually book with you. Because I can promise you this, when you are giving quotes out, what these people are doing, oftentimes your potential customers, is they might get a quote from business A, B, and C. Next, what they're going to do is they're going to see, okay, well, which one's more expensive? If they are all delivering the same service, when you think about it, what makes sense is going with the least expensive service, right? If each product is the same. Now, here's what's different, and I guarantee you is going to be different from these 3 companies, the review profiles. So what if we hold pricing constant on all 3 companies? What's going to happen? They're going to go with a company that has the best reviews. And here's the thing, negative reviews are going to happen. That is okay. The important thing is that you respond to every single negative review you get. And this is not where you plead your case. This is where you say, look, we want to make this right. Contact us at this email. Do not argue with your online reviews. That's really one of the worst things you can do. But what you're going to find is that over time, This brings down your overall marketing cost. There's a fancy term for it, client acquisition cost. Like, how much is it going to cost you to get a new customer? Well, think of it this way. If you're doing 100 quotes, let's say a month, and let's say half the people that you quote are checking reviews. Okay, I guarantee you it's probably much higher than that, but let's say half the people are checking out reviews and they're comparing you with a few different companies. So you have to figure your relative reviews matter as well, right? If all of your competitors have like a 4.0, then you might be okay with a 4.3, 4.5. Always shoot for 5, of course, but what you're going to find is that you're going to close a much higher percentage of these leads if you have a higher relative review ranking on platforms like Google. What you're going to find is that over time, you are going to lower your cost to acquire a new client. And this can be huge in the long run to the profitability of your business, because many times one of your largest expenses as a limo company, besides insurance, of course, and actually all the overhead you have, is, your marketing expense. And you want to get the biggest bang for your buck with your marketing dollars. And the way to do that is by lowering your client acquisition cost. And if you want to do that, you need to focus on getting as many good reviews as possible. Number 4, lack of diversification. Look, there are so many different marketing platforms out there: Google, Bing, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X now. Look, if you're only advertising on one, you are losing a lot of potential customers. But the mistake I see most limo businesses making is trying lots of different platforms, mastering none of them. You should not be trying a second platform out until you have mastered a first. What I often see happens is someone gives a half-hearted attempt at Facebook ads, and then after spending a few $100s and not booking any business, they give up. Look, I guarantee you, if this is what you do, you will fail every platform you try. Most of these platforms are difficult for a reason. There's lots of competition, and sometimes working with an agency makes sense. Sometimes learning it yourself in the long run can make the most sense. Either way, you're going to spend money either learning, or on the agency long run, you'll probably actually, get an even better ROI if you learn it yourself, but it can take a long time and a lot of ad spend to learn how these platforms work. Now, I always recommend search platforms. Start there because those are typically much easier to convert customers, convert your leads into bookings with search platforms. And here's why. When you think about it, when someone is on Facebook or Instagram, they're just scrolling, right? They're scrolling. They're not actively looking for what it is you offer. Whereas on search platforms, they're looking for exactly what it is you offer. And so what's going to be easier to close? A lead from a platform like Facebook or a lead from, Google Ads? I think it's obvious, right? Obviously from the search, because they're looking for what you offer, and the only thing they're trying to make up their mind on is, do I want to use company A, B, or C? So by all means diversify, but do not jump from one platform to another without really giving that platform a shot and really putting effort into it yourself, or hiring an agency that has a proven track record on that platform. The 5th mistake I see limo companies making is not identifying who their ideal client avatar is. So what does that mean? Well, for larger limo companies that do black cars, stretch limos, party buses, charter buses, many times it is all under one umbrella company. This can be a little more difficult. Many times separating your websites, especially if you have one division doing buses and charter work and another division focused on party buses, stretch limos, or maybe it's even on, like black car, corporate clients, that sort of thing. And oftentimes what you want to do, especially when you're dealing with buses and let's say black car, for instance, is you want to use separate assets. They can all be under one umbrella, but keep in mind, you are trying to appeal to a certain target audience, and it's very tough to do that on a home page when your target is people that want buses and people that want black car or people that want stretch limos and party buses. Those are all different client avatars. And by avatar, by the way, there's other videos on my channel that go over this. When I'm talking about customer avatars, I'm talking about who are they? Where do they live? You know, where do they work? How much money do they make? Things like this. You can use this data to make your marketing messaging more effective. If you do have all of these different sections of your company, I do recommend using different websites to market to these potential users, because you're just gonna see a much better ROI when you do so. This is not common. I work with a lot of companies that they put it all under one umbrella. The ones that do separate it, I've noticed, always perform a lot better. That's why at Limo Marketer, we use different landing pages for different service and vehicle types, right? If you're doing buses, we'll have a bus landing page. If you're doing black car, we'll have that. Stretch limo and party bus will have that. We'll have a different page for wine tours and a different page for weddings, right? And these are landing pages, so they're all completely separate. And I get it, you can all have these pages on your website, but if you offer this many different service types, you might want to consider breaking some of them off and having a completely separate website. Thanks so much, guys, for checking out these 5 mistakes limo companies are making that's costing them a ton of freaking money. Look, I hope you guys got some value from this.